All right, today we're cracking open the data analyst's playbook. But forget a dry technical manual. What we're really looking at is a detective's handbook, a guide to solving mysteries that are hiding right inside the data. So how is a data analyst like a detective? I mean, it's a pretty good question, right? Think about it. Both of them start with a tough problem, they hunt for clues, they piece everything together, and in the end, they uncover the truth. And their secret weapon? It's a structured process, a reliable playbook for getting from I have no idea to aha. And that playbook, that secret weapon, we call it the Data Analytics Lifecycle. Just think of it as the 4 essential stages of any good investigation. It's the framework that makes sure you don't miss any clues and that your conclusions actually make sense. You know, it keeps you from spending weeks chasing down a dead end. All right, let's jump right in. So phase 1 is the discovery. And here's the thing, every great investigation doesn't start with the clues. It starts with understanding the case itself. You've got to ask, what problem are we actually trying to solve? This is, without a doubt, the most important question an analyst or a detective can ask. Why? Because if you get this part wrong, you could spend all your time perfectly solving a problem that nobody cares about. So before you even look at a single piece of data, you need to know exactly what mystery you're solving and why it even matters. So the first big step is just defining the mission. Let's imagine a pharmacy, right? And they notice that a lot of patients are refilling their prescriptions late. During this discovery phase, we don't just dive into the numbers. No way. We ask questions like, okay, so why is this even a problem? Who does this affect? What does success even look like here? Is it reducing late refills by, say, 10%? We're basically setting the stage for the whole investigation. And that's the key thing to remember about this phase. It's all about getting clear and focused before you start the real work. You're just mapping out the crime scene. You're not trying to name the suspect just yet. Okay, so our mission is defined. Now it's time to gather the clues. And that brings us to phase 2, data prep. This is where we finally get our hands dirty with the evidence. Now, here's the thing about real-world data. It's messy. It is so messy. It's like showing up to a chaotic crime scene. The clues are all over the place, they're inconsistent, some are damaged, and nothing is organized. Our job is to clean it all up. And believe it or not, this is often the part that takes up the most time in the whole process. So what does that look like? Well, it's the real grunt work, you know? We're getting rid of duplicates, fixing typos, figuring out what to do with missing information, and making sure everything is in one standard format. Because, let's be real, if your clues are garbage, your whole case is going to fall apart. And you can see the transformation right here. We go from total chaos, you've got dates written a bunch of different ways, some are just missing, to something that is clean, standardized, and actually ready for analysis. This step, it's absolutely non-negotiable if you want results you can trust. I like to think of it this way. You wouldn't try to cook a gourmet meal in a dirty kitchen, right? You'd clean and organize everything first. It's the exact same idea with data. All right, our clues are clean, they're organized, they're ready to go, so what's next? Well, now our detective needs a strategy, a plan of attack, and this brings us to phase 3, the plan. So how are we actually going to analyze this data? This is where we decide on our technique. We're not just going to poke around randomly. That's a surefire way to hit a dead end. Instead, we have to choose a specific method that makes sense for the mystery we're trying to solve. So in this planning phase, we're choosing our whole approach. Like, are we looking for patterns over time? Are we comparing different groups of people? We'll identify the most important variables, maybe it's age or location in our pharmacy example, and we pick the right tools for the job. I mean, you wouldn't use a magnifying glass to analyze DNA, would you? Of course not. It's all about matching the tool to the task. So, if we stick with our cooking analogy, we've cleaned the kitchen, and now we're choosing the recipe. We know exactly what we're going to make and how we're going to make it. All that's left to do is to actually start cooking. And that brings us to the final act, phase 4, the execution. The plan is set, the data is ready. It is finally time to run the investigation. Yep, it's time to run the analysis and test it. This is the action phase. This is where we execute that plan we so carefully put together, and we finally get to put our clues together and see what story they're telling us. So, we run the model, we get the numbers, but we don't just stop there. A good detective always double-checks their work. We test the results, we evaluate them, and this is so important, we ask ourselves, does this actually make sense in the real world? Is this pattern a genuine discovery or is it just random noise? That last gut check is absolutely crucial. And here's what an insight could look like. For our pharmacy case, we run the analysis and bam, we find a pattern. A huge number of late refills are happening on the weekend. Now that is a tangible clue. It's a real lead we discovered by following our plan. This is that aha moment we've been working toward. And there it is. That aha moment is the direct result of the whole process. We cleaned the kitchen, we chose the recipe, and now we've cooked the meal. Our insight is officially ready to be served. So, let's tie this all together. From clues to a final conclusion. We've gone from a confusing mystery to a really clear insight, all by following this detective's handbook. So here it is, the whole playbook in a nutshell. Phase 1, discovery. That's all about understanding the problem. Phase 2, data prep. That's where you clean and organize your clues. Phase 3, model planning. You're choosing your analytical approach. And finally, Phase 4, model execution. You run the analysis and you get your results. It's a really logical, super powerful, and totally repeatable process. Okay, so now you have the playbook. By really mastering these 4 phases, you have the foundation you need to tackle pretty much any data challenge out there. This process, it gives you the power to go from confusion to clarity, from just a pile of data to real answers. So the only question left is, what mystery are you going to solve?